The first thing I saw was her shadow looming over my trunk, eyes locked on my grocery bags like a hawk circling prey. I had just come back from the store, arms full of food, when she strutted across the lawn like she owned the pavement. Then she said, "It dead serious. You're not allowed to bring that in. That food belongs to the community. Hand it over now." At first I thought she was joking. She wasn't. Within hours the cops were at my door. Kerren's lie had become law. But what she didn't know was I wasn't the one who'd be surrendering. Before we dive into this insane showdown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you love true stories of justice, revenge, and sweet karmic takedowns, this is where it happens. Let's get into it. Rain was hammering down like nails from the sky when I tried to carry the last few grocery bags up the steep incline of my driveway. My sneakers slipped against the wet concrete and I nearly lost my grip. A scream erupted from the baby, monitor clipped to my hip. My toddler Ella was awake and not happy about being left alone for even 5 minutes. The bags were cutting into my fingers, my palms burned, my heart pounded. This was supposed to be a quick errand. In and out. Grab formula, bread, eggs, and milk. Nothing fancy. Just the essentials for a long week ahead. I was still adjusting to life in our new home. My husband had been deployed overseas only 2 weeks before, and everything felt heavier without him. I took another breath, steeled myself against the cold and trudged forward. Then it happened. "Excuse me." The voice came from behind and slightly above me, sharp and nasal like the blare of a smoke detector. I turned, blinking rain out of my eyes. There she was, standing on her pristine porch 2 doors down. A woman in her 60s with helmet hair and a pink plastic poncho that looked like it had never seen dirt. Her lips were curled like she had tasted something sour. She held a phone in one hand, already recording. "Are you authorized to bring those items into this neighborhood?" I stared at her, not comprehending what. She pointed a manicured finger at my grocery bags. "You can't just haul things into a private community like this without clearance. They're groceries," I said slowly, "from the Safeway down the street." She took a step forward, her umbrella tapping like a gavel on the concrete. "This is an HOA regulated neighborhood," she said. "All deliveries must go through the central hub." "I didn't get anything delivered," I said, trying to keep calm. "I shopped with my own money and now I'm bringing it home to my house." She sniffed. "New residents are the worst. Always think they're above the rules." I took another step toward my door. Only 4 more steps. Then I could dry off and check on Ella, but Kerren. Yes, that was her name. She had introduced herself the first day we moved in. Kerren from the HOA board. Kerren with the laminated welcome packet and warning smile. Kerren blocked my path. "You're in violation," she said. "If you don't put those down right now, I will call security." I blinked. "You're threatening to call security because I bought groceries." She raised her phone higher. "Keep going. This is all being documented." My arm trembled under the weight. One of the plastic handles gave out, a bag split down the side. Cans of beans and a carton of eggs tumbled out. A bottle of juice cracked open, leaking across the driveway. Kerren didn't flinch. I dropped to my knees, gathering what I could, my hair plastered to my cheeks, my breath shaky. "You could help instead of recording." I muttered, "I don't assist violators." She snapped, "Maybe next time you'll learn to follow protocol." "Please," I said, "my baby is crying. I just want to get inside." "Rules are rules," Kerren said. "And if you don't want more fines, I suggest you brush up on them." She turned, walked back to her porch, closed her umbrella with a snap, like a judge declaring sentence. My clothes were soaked, my groceries ruined. My child screaming louder now. I gathered what was left, staggered inside, set the bags on the floor, and picked up Ella, who clung to my neck like a lifeline. An hour later, I found a slip tucked into my mailbox from the HOA, a warning for unauthorized item transportation. Potential fine, $500. I sat on the floor, my legs numb. Ella curled beside me. How could a neighborhood be so cruel? How could anyone look at a soaked mother and her groceries and think, let's punish her outside? The rain stopped. A quiet settled over the houses, but it wasn't peace. It was tension. Waiting building, and Kerren. Oh, she wasn't finished yet. I looked at the letter in my hand, then at the dark window reflecting my tired face. My grip tightened. Would not let this woman bully me out of my home. I would not let her win. Not now. Not ever. The knock came just as I was getting Ella down for her nap. It was sharp, firm, authoritative. I froze halfway to the kitchen. There was a second knock, then a voice. Police department, ma'am, we need to speak with you. My stomach dropped. I glanced at the living room window and saw the red and blue lights swirling against the walls. 2 squad cars parked out front. Neighbors peeking through curtains. Ella, stirred in my arms, I whispered a lullaby to calm her, but my voice trembled. My hands were already shaking as I carried her to the nursery, laid her gently in the crib, and hurried to the front door. 2 officers stood there, one older with graying temples and a clipboard, the other young and stiff with mirrored sunglasses and a hand resting near his belt. Are you Maya Thompson? Yes. The older officer gave a polite nod. Ma'am, we received a report of stolen property allegedly stored on your premises. We'd like to ask you a few questions. Stolen what? I blinked. I haven't stolen anything. The younger officer glanced past me into the house. Do you have any groceries currently in your possession matching the following description? 2 bags containing assorted dry goods, milk, bread, and other pantry items. My jaw dropped. I bought those. I have the receipts. They're from Safeway. The older officer held up a printed photo. It was grainy but clearly showed me unloading groceries. From the trunk of my car, Kerren must have taken it. The timestamp was from 2 days ago, ma'am. We were told these items were meant for the community donation pantry and were unlawfully taken from the designated drop point. There is no donation. Pantry, I said. That's not even a thing. I carried them straight from my car into my house. They're mine. Behind them, I saw her Kerren standing at the curb wearing the same smug expression like a cat watching mice scurry. She's lying, I said. She's been harassing me since I moved in. She doesn't want me here, and now she's trying to use the police to intimidate me. The older officer exhaled slowly. Do you have proof of purchase? I ran to the counter and grabbed the crumpled receipt. Still damp from the rain but legible, I handed it over. He read it carefully, checked the date, nodded. All right, ma'am. This appears to check out. We'll file this as a false report, but I recommend staying calm and documenting any further incidents. We can't press charges unless it escalates, but we are making a note of this incident in our system. I glanced at Kerren. She was waving at someone across the street, like she hadn't just called the cops on a mother for buying groceries. The officers. Left without another word to her, I stood in the doorway watching them drive away. The neighborhood was quiet again. Too quiet by evening, I noticed things had shifted. The couple next door, usually friendly, didn't return my wave. Another mom I met at the park suddenly declined Ella's playdate. Said something vague about wanting to avoid trouble. Whispers followed me when I took out the trash. Kerren had poisoned the well, and she was just getting started. The next morning, an envelope was taped to my door. Another violation, another fine, this time for improper parking. My car had been well within the lines, but I knew arguing would be pointless. The HOA had become her personal weapon. I called the office, got a recording, left a message. Got no response. Then came the trash can citation. Then the noise complaint. Then the landscaping warning. Each more absurd than the last. I walked outside and saw Kerren standing on her lawn in a robe, sipping coffee like a queen surveying her territory. She didn't speak, just smirked. I went back inside and opened my laptop, started reading the bylaws. All 72 pages. They were dense, outdated, full of contradictions, but something in me had snapped. I was not going to let this woman dictate my life through intimidation and lies. She thought I would fold. She thought I would pack up and leave. But she didn't know who she was dealing with. I may have been quiet, alone, overwhelmed. But I was not weak. She wanted a war. She was going to get one, and this time I was going to play by her rules better than she ever could. The camera was cheap but functional. I mounted it above the porch light angled toward the driveway. Another one faced the street. A third inside the window watched the front yard, all linked to a free app on my phone. Motion alerts pinged constantly, but I didn't care. Let her try something now. For days, I documented everything. Her daily walks that always ended in her circling my mailbox, the way she lingered near my flower beds, the clipboard she always carried, always writing, always watching, collected the notices. 12 so far. I scanned them, noted the inconsistencies, violation dates that didn't match my movements, alleged infractions for non-existent rules. I began recording every conversation, printed every receipt, saved every email. I wasn't just fighting back, I was building a case. Then I joined the neighborhood forum under a new account, anonymized silent reading through the HOA discussion threads. And that was where I found gold post after post residents complaining about mysterious fines, strange reports, unjust citations, and always. Kerren's name floated somewhere in the comments. One post stood out. It was from a user named Curious, Neighbor 87. It described an incident eerily similar to mine. Groceries, a false theft report, police involvement, followed by silence and fines. I messaged them. They responded quickly. A woman named Trina. Same street. Same harassment. She had moved out 6 months ago because the pressure became unbearable, but she had kept her documents, photos, videos, voice recordings. She sent them to me. I opened the files and felt a chill crawl up my spine. Kerren screaming at a delivery man, telling a teenage boy his bike was a code violation, threatening to sue a mother for letting her kids draw. Chalk on the sidewalk pattern, power abuse. That was when I found it. A line in an old meeting transcript. The HOA board had authorized discretionary citations, meaning Kerren could fine residents without board approval under specific circumstances. Erod. Loophole was wide enough to drive a truck through. I needed proof she was exploiting it. And that meant bait. The next morning I went shopping again, stocked up on everything. Made sure to get the same bags, the same trunk loading method. But this time, I set up the cameras first. She came out like clockwork. Same poncho, same pointed finger. Bringing contraband again, I see. I didn't respond. Just smiled, waved at the camera. She froze. You think you can record me without consent? She said, I'll have. You sued for harassment. You're on public property, Kerren. I said sweetly. Smile for the neighborhood. Her face turned a dangerous shade of red. She stormed off, but she wasn't done that night. A rock hit my window. Just one, just loud enough to wake. Ella, just soft enough not to break the glass. I checked the footage, saw the outline of her frame. The way she ducked behind the hedge, I clipped the video and backed it up twice. The next morning, I submitted a formal complaint to the HOA with attachments. I sent copies to 3 other board members. And then I posted in the forum. The thread exploded. Residents poured in, adding their own stories, their own videos, their own rage. Someone tagged a local reporter. Another suggested a town hall meeting. Kerren didn't come out that day or the next. Then a letter arrived. Not a violation this time. An invitation, HOA emergency session. Public input, welcome allegations of misconduct on the agenda. I dressed Ella in her best, tied my hair back, walked into that meeting with a folder in one hand and a camera in the other. The room was packed. Neighbors I hadn't seen in weeks. People who had avoided me. Now nodding. Some even smiling. Kerren sat at the end of the table. Her clipboard replaced with a manila folder, her mouth tight. I was the first to speak. I listed every violation I had received, presented receipts, showed footage, explained the false police report, then handed out copies of Trina's testimony, with timestamps, gasps, whispers. One of the board members looked genuinely horrified. Then others stood up one by one telling their stories. Unraveling years of petty tyranny. Kerren said nothing. Just sat stone still, eyes blank. When the board finally spoke, their tone was different. We will be reviewing these. Materials thoroughly effective. Immediately all discretionary citations are suspended pending investigation. Kerren stood. I will not be slandered by conspiracy theorists and rule breakers, but no one applauded. No one agreed. Her power was cracking. I wasn't finished yet. Kerren didn't show her face for days. The porch lights stayed off, her curtains drawn, the house silent as a tomb. But the neighborhood had awakened. A quiet rebellion pulsed through the block. People began comparing notes, sharing letters, revisiting every fine they'd ever paid. Old grudges turned into collective fury. Murmurs of legal action swirled in the wind. A petition appeared on the community board, calling for her removal. I signed it without hesitation. So did the couple. Next door, so did 50 others. Then came the footage. Not mine. Someone else's doorbell cam. It showed Kerren sneaking onto a neighbor's porch, taping a citation to their door. At 2 a.m, wearing gloves, she hadn't even lived at the edge of authority. She had trampled past it into something colder. More calculated. I compiled everything. Put it into a single video, an 8-minute edit. Every clip, every voice, every timestamp. I titled it The Queen of the HOA, and I uploaded it. I didn't expect what happened next. Overnight, the views exploded. Comments flooded in, people from other cities, other states sharing their own Kerren tales. It struck a nerve deeper than I imagined. Then came the knock-knock police. Not HOA reporters. A local news crew. They had seen the video, wanted an interview. I agreed. Stood in front of my house holding Ella. Told the story plainly. No exaggeration, no rage. Just facts, proof. By that evening, Kerren was trending. Memes, videos, GIFs. My favorite was a photoshopped picture of her riding a grocery cart like a chariot. Captioned, "Let them eat rice cakes." The HOA held a vote the following week. Community members lined up around the clubhouse, holding signs. Whispers had turned to chants. Remove her. Remove her. I stood, near the back, watching the faces. These people had once judged me, feared me. Now they nodded in recognition. The board emerged after 2 hours, their faces grim but resolute. Kerren was stripped of her authority. Effective immediately, all fines issued. By her were nullified. Investigations into potential fraud had been referred to county officials. She stormed out, hair wild, eyes blazing. This is slander, defamation. You're all going to regret this. No one flinched, no one answered. She walked past. Me stopped. You think this is over? You don't know who I am? I looked her straight in the eyes. You're a bully with a clipboard and your time is up. Her lips curled, but she said nothing. Just turned and vanished down the sidewalk by the end of the month. Her house was on the market. The sign read, "Motivated seller." The neighborhood changed. People smiled again, talked, helped each other, laughed. When I passed by with Ella, a woman I barely knew brought cookies to my door, said, "You stood up when..." The rest of us were scared. Thank you. I didn't feel brave. I just felt tired. But something had shifted inside me. Strength, not loud or angry, but rooted solid. I walked Ella to the park, watched her climb the jungle gym. Sunlight in her curls. The sound of kids laughing. No shadows. A man approached me. New to the neighborhood, saw the story on YouTube, said, "Is it always this exciting around here?" I laughed. Only when someone tries to steal my groceries. We both smiled, and the world moved on, but I still kept the cameras up just in case.